video. Don't know when this actually came out. It came out behind the scenes at Happy Place. I just found it like a few minutes ago. I watched the music video a few times. It's been out for a few months. That's all that matters. So we're gonna watch this, and I'm gonna react to it because I've not seen it yet. So here we go. Maybe I just how to do my animation.
What?
Maybe this will help me figure out how to do my animation for my own cartoon. Here we go.
What? Is that Jax from the Amazing Digital Circus? Gosh dang right it is. You've obviously seen my new music video, Happy Place, which features over 14 different animation styles.
Ooh, 14 different animations.
I've decided to
Okay.
give you people an exclusive behind-the-scenes peek at how we made that magic happen for my music video.
What? Is that Jax?
From the Amazing Digital Circus? Yeah, how you doing?
You're in my booth. This is my narration.
Well, excuse me for giving the fans what they want. Everyone knows me. Nobody knows, what's your name?
Zach?
Already forgotten, see? Did you just flash me with prime energy?
Yuck.
Actually drinking that?
Ouch, 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 ouch.
I don't drink Prime.
We're going to be going through how we created each different animation style in Happy Place, and also talk about the incident. There was a shot that we tried really, really hard to get in the video, but ended up having to scrap for reasons. More on that at the end of the video. Without further ado, let's play.
You got a real fursuiter?
With Violet Shot. We've been big fans of her low poly work for years, and thought that this video would be the perfect opportunity to finally work together. So tell us how you did it, Violet.
Hi, I'm Violet. I'm primarily a low poly 3D artist and animator. So I'm a low poly Ragafa shot. She's thrown into this low poly world. So first I sketch out the designs I want to use for the shot, then I use those to reference when I'm 3D modeling. So I use Workbench for my art, which is a bit different from kind of your traditional 3D software. First I build the character, which in this case is Ragafa, and she's kind of just built off these like very simple kind of shapes. Once I have the character, I will build the set. It's also built very similarly. These are just like cubes. Once I have both of them, I can go into animating, which in this case is also very simple. She's kind of just being stretched around. You can see those faces perfectly.
So I can do that.
But from the camera's perspective, it looks really cool. In kind of classic or traditional 3D animation, animators will use interpolated pose where it'll go from one key to another. But in here, it's like the pose is snap, and that creates a very kind of traditional 2D look. It helps the shot be more grounded in kind of a more unique, like stylized animation. Once I have all the frames, I can export it into editing software. My editing software of choice is DaVinci Resolve. This lets me do special things to the different layers. For example, I've done an outline here of Ragafa. There's a few other things which I did in post. For example, the little speech bubble that appears on Ragafa's head is made in post and added in post. The shot took me just over like 10 hours. That includes like concepting and modeling, animation, and compositing. But it is like a 3-second
10
shot,
hours?
so you can see how much work goes into a 3-second shot from an animation perspective. I know a lot of 3D modeling can be pretty daunting. Below poly is very simple. You can make very simple shapes if you want to.
Okay, maybe I can do my cartoon in that.
And also use inspiration. And don't be afraid to use reference as well.
Next up is the part where I banished Kinger to MS Paint, where he remained for 6 consecutive days before law enforcement realized he was gone. Okay, I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
Exactly, with a shotgun?
I'm leaving.
All yours, Madeline.
My name is Madeline, and I am a 2D artist / animator, and I did the anime Zooble, the MS Paint Kinger, and the animation interaction Gangle. The Kinger animation was inspired by this artist. They had done something that the Zams thought was super cool and messaged them about it, asking if we could reference them, and that's where the inspiration came from. And for this one, I animated in Toon Squid. So I did the key poses, and then I would go through and roughly animate, and then go over with the line art, and then color it in. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. This one probably took the longest out of all of the shots I did, probably around a week.
Up next,
That's not bad.
Madeline's Zooble shot.
So the first shot I was assigned was the anime Zooble shot. This was the reference I was given. I was super excited because I have been meaning to do like a vintage anime type style anyway. Specifically with Zooble, they were extra difficult because of how many different colors and body parts I have. That was probably the thing I spent the most time on, was the coloring for this one. It took 5 hours, but it felt like
Dang.
5 days. I think a majority of the time when I'm animating, a lot of it is just me trying to think, like visualize what I'm going to make before I actually make it.
Next, we're looking at the flipbook shot, which is kind of the precipice for the incident shot. But I'll let our next guest talk about it.
Hi, I'm Avalon. For this video, I creatively directed it, as well as did the storyboards and the paper flipbook medium shot. Today, I'm going to talk about the flipbook part. So even though the end product might have looked like it was traditionally drawn, psych, it was not. I started off with animating this digitally first for the purpose of printing them out for use. This just saved me time on this project and made it easier for me to plan out the animation in general. I started with the rough frames first for Pomni, and then when I liked how it looked, I went ahead and cleaned it up, trying to emulate a traditional sketch style. Next, I grabbed a smaller sketchbook and just pasted all the Pomni frames inside page by page. After all that was done, I took a few shots with my camera of me crumpling up Pomni and throwing her into the garbage. So that I could do more than one take, I didn't actually crumple up the real Pomni paper, but instead crumpled a blank piece of paper. My cat Tuco ended up joining me up on the table and refused to move. And so he ended up joining in on one of the shots. This project probably took around a week to put together. However, the printings of Pomni were actually originally going to be used for a different animation style that ended up being way too difficult to follow through with. But oh, did I try? I tried. But we will dive more into that later at the end of the video.
Yes, the art versus artist shot. Madeline actually creates more content like this on her own channel, The Living Arcade. So we thought this could be a cool opportunity to sort of incorporate her signature style.
For the Gangle shot, I was given myself as a reference, which pretty much meant that I got free reign with this shot. It was pretty simple. All I had to do here was draw the crack in her face and then hope that it lined up with the rest of the animation and press play. This one was definitely the easiest. This took the shortest amount of time. I'll probably say I did this in a day. Beginning animation was kind of intimidating because I didn't know where to start. If I were to give any advice, it would just be like jump in wherever you can. Doesn't even matter if it's good or bad, just go for it.
Up next, we have the part where Jax turns into a furry.
Hey, kids! Today we're going to be moving to the next slide.
No, Jax, we're gonna talk about it.
Don't listen in, kids, especially if he says I'm a closeted furry. My poor eyes.
Anyway, take it away, Jessie.
For a quick
Jessie?
rundown of how this went down, they'd seen my Jax cosplay video and wanted to know if I was interested in contributing a quick clip of Jessie. And for those wondering, this isn't actually a Jax fursuit, but it's purple and it has bunny features, so it works. Step 1 was figuring out the motions outside of the suit. After that, I did 3 sets of about 5 takes each. The first set was with flat white lighting, and I don't know, it didn't feel like it had a lot of pop, so I added the 2 colored lights for a bit of a gradient look. Only problem is on set 2 I forgot the fill light, so I did the last set. 1 key light, 2 background lights, and a combination rim sort of fill light. In total, I filmed about 7 minutes of footage for this, and that included the lighting test. After sending it in, it was just waiting for the video to drop.
Lastly, but certainly not leastly, before we dive into our lightning round, we have Robin's Pomni run.
Hi, I'm Robin, also known as Kitchen Sneeze, and I did the 2D animation hybrid shot from this music video. I don't think my mind clicked on how difficult a 2D shot being integrated with 3D was going to be. I started with sketch concepts for what Pomni would look like in 2D. This was what I was provided animatic-wise. But in order to motion match it perfectly, I had to start by tracking the head and pretty much reverse engineered the 3D animation. So I tracked the head. I went over with a really rough motion pass, and then this is the final tied down rough animation pass. I kind of tried to keep everything separated. It allowed me to keep track of them better, and it also allowed for Joe, the cleanup artist, to know how to separate the layers. This is the line pass of the cleanup, and these are just placeholder colors so I can see how it looks before the color palette was finalized and decided. And then this is the final cleaned up, completely colored version of the animation, which in this final pass, everything is on separate layers, which allowed me to comp it easier because I was matching the lighting of the 3D scene. And this is how it looks fully comped into the scene. That took probably 40 plus hours of work. So, you know, takes a while, but hey, it's worth it.
If you'd like to watch a more in-depth breakdown of this shot, you can watch this video on my channel. Link is in the description.
Oh, Zachary!
Hey, I thought you didn't remember me.
My turn!
Right, Pan!
Welcome to the lightning round, folks. Games Real Life Hands was just some idiot on the green screen wearing a Halloween costume.
We got a gangle skin and busted a move in my
Ow! Got a Jack Flush and busted a move in the woods.
pancake versions of the characters based on the abstraction scene from Inside Out.
A missile from Lethal Company snuck on set.
Downloaded a bunny video on Adobe Stock. And...
You shot me, you sick
Oh, I'm sorry. I maybe went a little too far.
Aaron bashed a bunch of real eye and mouth photos together.
What the
Inspired by
fuck?
The flower from that one game.
Introducing the business card that gives back all you put in. A new Chase Sapphire Reserve for business.
What does breakfast have that lunch doesn't, you ask? Bacon, egg, and cheese bagels.
Coughing.
Are we done?
No, we still have.
Hi, it's me again. You know, we learn many lessons throughout our lives, and one of them is that sometimes we don't get what we want, no matter how much you want it, and no matter how many retakes you go through. There was a shot we really wanted to put into this video, but we couldn't shoot the great final take, no matter how hard we tried. I came across this really cool paper animation video from a YouTuber called Fendi Chi, where he puts up a bunch of traditionally drawn frames face up, and then he'll flip through them. I thought it was just the coolest thing, and I was like, we gotta add this into our video. So I added it as a reference in the storyboarding phase, and little did I realize that I would soon be assigned this task myself. It was my first time doing anything like this, and there weren't really any tutorials online for this specific type of animation that I could find anyways. So I just kind of wung it, and I did it by eye and I guess common sense. I went out to the craft store to pick up some supplies and got these long foam boards to use as the runway, and these sturdy plastic sheets to cut out and use as stands for every frame. I then started puncturing the Pomni stands onto the runway, and after all that, the setup was all complete, and the hardest part was over. Or so I thought. Fendi Chi made the recording process look so easy that I didn't know that I was going to have so many problems recording this thing. Pushing myself back to record this long runway of Pomnis and holding the phone camera with my hand made these recordings way too shaky to actually be able to use. I was starting to freak out a little bit. I just made this really cool project, and now there's a chance I'm not going to even be able to use it. No, I will persevere. I will make this work, even if it takes me 50 billion takes until I get it right. I even tried sitting on a longboard, and even then, the longboard started turning left or right. We ordered a little camera dolly to come in just for this shot. And you know what? It still didn't work. And it was all just a mess. Finally, we gave up. Except me for a couple of days because I really wanted to make this work to my dying breath. But we decided we would replace this shot with a simpler flipbook instead. Do I regret taking this new animation medium on, even though it didn't work out? No, I don't. But will I be doing this again? No.
I
Hey
would.
everyone, Jax here. Everything you saw me do in this video is not canon, no matter how likely it might seem that I'd actually do these things. I would shoot someone. I will shoot someone. Why is it bedtime?
And that's how we created Happy Place. We also made a similar video for our Lethal Company music video, Follow the Orders. So be sure to check that out.